Hey everyone, it's Brian Kaz here. We'll get going in just 30 seconds here. Just about to share my screen in a second here. Alrighty. All right, if you can see my screen, which should be a PowerPoint, and hear my voice, just say a quick yes in the chat box. There should be a little chat box. All right, lots and lots of yeses. That's always good news when I know I'm not basically talking to myself with a screen you can't see and a voice you can't hear. So that's always good right there. So once again, I want to welcome all of you on this call here. What this call will be right here is I'll basically briefly give you like a preview of just like a few of the main things that you should be aware of, because I know there's a lot of new users of WebFire. So I want to take just like a couple minutes to go over where you can find the training, and what our support is and all that stuff. And then a couple minutes after that, we'll basically jump right in to one of the training calls we have here, which is basically 3 cool Jumpstart techniques that you can do to make money online with WebFire. So we have a bunch of prior training. There's a bunch of different ways that you can use it to get rankings, leads, and traffic and make sales and all that. This is just 3 that I thought were relatively easy to start with. I thought would be a good thing to mention on this call here. So once again, welcome to the WebFire training calls right here. You can sign up for the future calls and also check out some of the past calls inside of the WebFire members area, and I'll show that off in just a second here. If you're here or you're registered for this series, you'll get a reminder each week so you don't forget. So each week prior to a call that we do, you will get a notice. So you'll have plenty of time ahead of time. So no worries about that, but make sure you're registered. If you're here, you probably are. But if you can't make one, no worries there either, because we'll have the recordings up in the members area, usually within about a day of any of the live calls being done, and they'll show up under the training tab on the left side navigation bar, which again I'll show off in just a second here. Now, these calls are typically focused more on basically marketing and techniques and stuff with WebFire tools, instead of just like how to use X tool, as we already have like lots of walkthroughs and stuff for each of the tools. So any of the tools that you basically look at will have a walkthrough or basically tutorial. So these calls we don't use as in like, here's how you use this, here's how you click start here, here's how you do that, because we already have that available. So to basically make better use of your time, these calls are usually geared more towards the marketing side. Now, having said that, if you get lost or confused or anything like that, you can always write our support, which is just support@webfire.com. Again, it's just support@webfire.com. Pretty easy. They'll always reply to you super fast. Usually they reply within a matter of minutes to like an hour or so if you write basically during our daytime. If you write like in like the wee hours of the morning, they probably won't be up to like 9 or so their time, and you'll get a response right then. And you can also join our free Facebook group, which you can get to by basically going to the link that you see right there. It's just getwebfire.com/FB group. That will forward you to the Facebook page. You'll want to click on join. And if you do it now, you'll be approved probably within like a minute or so. We have like a little approval process just to kind of block out, any kind of spam bots and stuff like that. So pretty good group right there. You can feel free to ask questions and stuff there. We just ask if it's like a tech question. We ask that you write the support email just to make basically better use of the group. The group is more meant for like marketing type questions and stuff that like would help others and be of interest. So if you have like a marketing question or anything like that, you can feel free to reach out to us there as well, or just write support@webfire.com. And if you join that, right now. We'll also give you a chance towards the end of the call to win $100 cash that will pay via PayPal at the end of this call. So make sure you join that link right there. It's free, and you'll get some instructions towards the end of this call where we'll do a live drawing where someone will win $100. So before I move on to the training for the day, I just want to pause the screen for a second as I show off just a couple quick things for those that are new, because I know we have a decent amount of new users and all that. So here you'll see the members area. Now, of course, you should have a login. If not, just write support@webfire.com if you got it and you didn't receive a login. When you're brand new, you'll basically be prompted to download a little Mac or a little Windows app that just runs in the background, and probably about a third of the tools, maybe half, use that as well to help, like to alert you to new leads and stuff like that. So a third or half of the tools won't work unless you have that. So make sure you download that right there, and you'll see on the upper right, once you download it, it'll just say WF3, like you see right here in the upper right. And that means it's active. And you'll also see then when you log into WebFire, you'll see a little green thing that says connected. That means it's basically talking to your app. If it does not say connected, that means you either haven't downloaded the app or you haven't installed it. And you can always just click on basically troubleshoot Mac or troubleshoot Windows, or just click on the getting started, and it will re-prompt you to basically download that app and how to install it and all that right there. All the tools you can, of course, access right here. You just click on the relevant ones. You see a drop down of everything right there. I won't bore you with the details of that, but more importantly, there was a couple people asking about how to get the downloadable USB training. In the members area, you'll see that right here. The link will be, it's kind of highlighted in like an orange color. So it's a WebFire USB training. You'll see that right there. You can click that and go straight to all the training. There is a lot of training in there, but I think we have like the top few we have at the very top there, so they stand out, including the one that's like 5 ways to make a quick grand or so. That's one of the most popular ones there, as well as there's one on how to basically charge 10 to 100 times more than the competitors and make more sales. That's a popular one as well. So make sure to basically check out all that. You'll also see sometimes we'll have some notes up here, like news announcements and stuff. Like sometimes we have work being done on some of the tools. If it's usually pretty quick one, like if it's like, if we notice that, hey, there's an issue with the tool and we think we can have it fixed in like a couple hours, we usually don't put a notice on that, because by the time we get the notice up, it'd be fixed. But if there's like maintenance being done, or if there's a tool that will take us like a day or two to fix, like if it's more intense, or if we're working on an upgrade, we have some very complex stuff that basically goes on in the background on some of the tools. So when we upgrade them or rehaul them, sometimes it can take like a couple days. Usually not, but in some cases it can, if not more. And we'll just have a little note up there on stuff being fixed, or if there's issues like right here. I think Microsoft recently had an update on Windows, and there's a couple things that can get kind of wonky, and there's an easy fix on that right here. So it just gives like a note here, and you can click to get some instructions on how to do that if you're having any issues. We also have announcements on past calls and other notes, and to register for webinars and stuff. Like right here on the right side, you can click where you can register for the webinar trainings, like this one right here. And speaking of trainings, the last thing I'll show off right here is you'll see a tab right here that will have the trainings. You can see all sorts of ones. The main ones are the Wednesday training right here. You'll click that, and you'll see basically a whole bunch of trainings. I mean, tons and tons of them. I think there's actually over, I think like 160 or so. A lot of them. And you can search by keywords and stuff. So if you are interested mostly in SEO, you can basically type in SEO and see a bunch of calls just on that. If you're more interested in affiliate stuff, you can basically write, affiliate and see a bunch of stuff there. If you're interested in services, like how to sell that, you can type in that and see all the calls relevant to that. So pretty much, if there's any topic of interest to you, rather than wait for like a new call on just that, you can search all of our prior calls and find ones that are of interest to you. So pretty much almost any marketing type question you have, we've probably done it. So make sure to check that. And also on these calls, occasionally we also do like live website analyses and live business analyses and stuff. And that's real fun, where we'll usually ask for volunteers like several days ahead of time. And we let you submit your site or your business and basically answer a couple questions for us. And then we'll actually analyze your business and site online, not just for like SEO, but also for like what we do to basically market it. Those calls are quite fun. So we'll probably do one of those in the near future as well right there. Yeah, that's just a little breakdown. And of course, if you ever have any questions at all, again, just write support@webfire.com. So pretty easy. And with that, I will jump back to the PowerPoint. I'm just going to pause the screen for a second as I jump on back. Okay. All right. So jumping on back here, we can move on to our training for this week, and where we'll basically reveal 3 very cool techniques that you can use to make money online with WebFire. So these aren't like the only ways. These are just 3 ways I think would be kind of fun and easy, especially if you're brand new. The third one I think is perhaps like one of the most powerful ones if you're interested in selling the service, but there's other options out there as well. So for the quick overview, what we'll do, I'll first basically talk about the 3 specific Jumpstart techniques to make money online with WebFire. Then I'll go through a couple examples, because like sometimes I like to not only like explain the stuff in a PowerPoint, but I also like to show like a quick demo or like an example of it. And I will do that as well inside of WebFire as well as out. And then we'll have some time for a Q&A. Usually our goal is to keep these calls to about an hour or so. Sometimes we might go a bit more. But if there's any questions that you have, feel free to ask those, and we'll try to answer them either. We have some help on this call, like Sharon and Sean are often on this call, basically answering questions in the chat while I talk. And towards the end of the call, I'll have some time for basically the Q&A then as well. And then at the very end, we'll give some cash away. So basically as a thank you for basically being on this call, and to reward basically action takers, we'll actually give you a way to win $100 live, where we'll do a drawing at the end of this call right here. So without further ado, we can get the show on the road here. All right, so method number 1, which is what I call basically profiting from questions. And there's 2 main ways to go about this. I'll explain that in a bit. But basically, when people are about to buy anything online, especially higher price stuff, they typically do a lot of research. Like if they're looking to buy like a $5 thing, chances are if they know that they like it, they just basically buy it. Maybe they'll do a little research. But if they're looking to buy like $100 thing or $1,000 thing or a $5,000 thing, especially the expensive stuff, typically people do a lot of research. Like, if you're looking to buy a moped or a car or a computer, you probably don't just go in and buy the first thing you see. I mean, some people might, but the majority of them do a decent amount of research. Like I know when I bought a TV, like a new one, maybe like a couple of years back or so, I did a lot of research because it wasn't like, it wasn't that there weren't a lot of options or anything. It was just that, like, I didn't know which ones were better or worse. I didn't know which ones were basically double the cost, but weren't, that they maybe were basically twice the price, but they didn't have the same stuff that maybe a unit like half that price was, or I didn't know if the cheap stuff was like really lacking a bunch of stuff. Like I probably spent hours trying to find out which was the best one to get. That made sense. And pretty much everyone's like that in almost everything like that, especially again on the stuff that's over like $100 or so. So part of that research often includes looking for basically answers to questions that they might have about a specific product or a type of product. Although some questions can lead directly to a very easy, affiliate or sales link placement. Like if someone asks, where's a good place to buy whatever online, you can pretty much say, hey, in this case, I would recommend you buy from this site or that site, and you can have an affiliate link there even. But most questions are usually a bit more like, what's the difference between an LED and an OLED TV? Whereas that's not like a guy saying, hey, where can I buy one? He's saying, what is the difference between this kind and that kind? But what does that mean? It means that he's most likely, there's probably, like, my guess is like a 95% chance he's asking that question or she's asking that question because they're looking to buy one and they just don't know which one they should look at or which one's the better one, or what fits their needs exactly. And even, and what's really ironic with this is that almost anyone asks like tons of these questions even if they don't need to. Like I recently had a relative that just bought a TV, I think like a couple days ago, and all they use it for is to really like watch Netflix. They don't do anything else. They don't do gaming. They don't do like any high-end stuff. They don't do like a lot of sports stuff. It's really just watching Netflix movies essentially. And the standard TV now has like dozens of features where most of them aren't even relevant to them, but they're like concerned about every feature that this one has and this one doesn't. And they spend tons and tons and tons of time again looking to see, hey, which one should they buy? Even though in a case like that they could have probably bought almost any one and been mostly fine. They spend a lot of time researching to make them feel good, to make sure that they get the best model, and pretty much everyone's guilty of that. And they're not like, sometimes the search terms aren't even questions. Like it could be LED versus OLED. Like they might have a search term like that where it's not a question, but if you're saying like A versus B, again, they're probably looking for what's the difference between those two right here. So a couple examples of questions that people might have, which would be indicating that they probably would be a buyer, would be a question like, how much larger does a 1 carat diamond look from a 0.9 carat oval, which is basically a diamond shape or whatever style diamond? Or even a question like, not even a question, but like even a search for like size comparisons for whatever style or whatever shape diamonds. That's search terms that people might do that are indicating that they're looking to buy a diamond, but they just don't know, like, hey, can you really tell a difference from a 0.9 and a 1 carat, in this shape? Or if someone's looking to buy a moped, they might ask, a question or have a search like difference between a 50cc and 150cc moped engine. If someone's searching for that, most likely, again, they're looking to buy a moped, but they just don't know which one would be the best fit. Like maybe one allows them to have a passenger, maybe one is basically good if it's like, a heavier person that, weighs more than X amount of pounds or so, but they just don't know what the difference really is. Or an example in tennis might be, what is the difference between natural gut, synthetic gut, poly and nylon strings? That's basically strings that you can put in a racket. Each one has like a different feel and essentially purpose. And someone that's like more newer, they see all these options of what they could string their racket with, and they just might not know, hey, what is a good fit for them. These are all basically great examples where you could do like a quick article or a quick video and basically answer the question. And there's a couple tips that I'll go over on how to do that. So, one is, on top of simply answering the questions in a short, clear way, you can also give extra tips that could lead to your affiliate or sales link. For instance, if you were to say, if someone searched for 50cc versus 150cc, moped engine, you could say, hey, here's the difference. 50cc is good if you weigh less than X, amount. It's good if you only want to go a maximum of X amount of miles an hour, if you don't want to have a passenger. Whereas if you have a passenger, or if you're heavier, or if you want to go faster, you want the 150cc engine. So that's a good way to basically answer that. But then you can follow that up with, and if you're looking for some really awesome deals on those kinds of mopeds, the best place that I found online is this place right here, and you give a link to that place right there. Now, the key is to not be spammy and to basically come off as super helpful. So if someone's asking a question and you just say, buy it here, the majority of the time you don't seem helpful, you seem kind of douchey, and you're not really offering value. Whereas if you clearly answer their question and then go above and beyond to help them more, you can make a lot of money off that. To give an example on the diamond question, like if someone had, a question like, what is the difference between, a 0.9 oval diamond and a 1 carat oval diamond? If you answered a question like, hey, here's what they might look like, typically a normal person probably couldn't tell the difference in size. They're almost the exact same, but a 0.9 will cost X amount less than a 1 carat, and sometimes can be an even better diamond. And so, you offered a lot of value, but if you follow that up by saying, and if you're looking for some really awesome deals on those, the best site I found online is this site right here. And then you post your affiliate link to that site. Now, having said that, you do want to make sure that the link that you use, the affiliate link or the site that you post to, legitimately has good deals on it. If you post to a site that's like double the price of every other site, they're going to see through that and they're not going to trust you then. So like, don't try to game the system because like you're like, oh, I think I can make a couple extra bucks if I basically tell them that paying basically double the price is the best deal out there, when that's clearly not. If it's a blog post, you can write this directly in the post. But if it's a video, you can mention that you have a link in the description to direct them to. Now, here's a few examples of what that might look like right there. For instance, to give some extra, essentially tips and stuff in a response, if we basically use the diamond example, you might say, hey, here's what a 0.9 carat oval diamond looks like compared to a 1 carat oval diamond. There's not much of a difference between the two, but offline retailers might charge $7,000 for 1 carat compared to $5,500 for a 0.9. However, if you go online, you can get better deals from a site I highly recommend that I put a link in the description below. At that site, the same 1 carat diamond would go for about $4,800 instead of $7,000, while the 0.9 carat would go for $3,900 instead of $5,500. So again, that post right there gives a ton of value, clearly answers the question, but also prompts them to kind of go to your affiliate link. And that's one of the first affiliate links I ever had online when I started out years and years ago. Is I was an affiliate for basically diamond sites and basically did just this here. Another example using the tennis one is, if someone's asking a question on what the difference is between the different essentially types of string, you could answer it like this. Natural gut strings tend to be more powerful, easier on the elbows, and they can hold their tension the longest. However, they're very susceptible to rain and water. You can't get them wet, and they can be a bit less durable for hard hitters compared to poly strings, which tend to lose tension faster, play far less powerful, grip the ball a bit better for better spin, and are harder on the elbows. Natural gut can be far more costly, though usually 3 times or more the price of poly. A sports store might charge you $60 just for the natural gut strings and about $25 for the poly strings. However, you can get them at a decent discount from a tennis site that I put a link to in the description. You can get natural gut here for more like $30 to $40 instead of $60. Well, basically poly strings you can get for $10 to $17 instead of $25. So if you did like a video on that, you could have a link in the description or something along those lines right there. But you're clearly answering the question and offering a lot of value. Here's some additional extra tips. If you use affiliate links, don't make them look like affiliate links. Use redirects or shortened links. Make sure to clearly give them a reason to go to the link. For instance, you can say it's basically cheaper by X amount here than there. Don't just say go here. Give them a reason to basically check out the link or the recommendation that you have. Make the link easy to see and stand out in the description. So make it really, really pop. If you have it on a blog post, I mean, just make it be essentially bold, make it stand out, and say like, hey, click here to check out the best deals I found on this, and make it clearly like a clickable link that basically pops out. And if you're brand new and you don't have a blog or anything like that, you can go to blogger.com. That's blogger.com. It's free to make blogs and super easy to write blog posts and do all that stuff. I mean, once you learn it, and you can learn it in like 15 minutes, you can write a new post. Once you have it written, you can add links and do all that stuff in a matter of a couple minutes. Like pretty easy stuff right there, and it's free. So for a plan of action, there are 2 options that you can do here. Option 1 is you can basically brainstorm some questions and see what basically others are asking on forums and sites and reviews and such, and then write a blog post, an article, or create a video on it with basically putting the question in the title or in the title tag, which is very good for SEO because it means you have a good chance of ranking for the question when someone asks that. And then you can have your suggestions, your call of action, or your affiliate link as a recommendation. And if you do even like, if you do a blog post or let's say a video on like 1 question a week, which doesn't have to take you that long to basically research and answer and all that. I mean, you could take a half hour a week and get like a decent one done. Over time, you'll start to get more and more traffic, and very targeted traffic, where it might be a slower start to start with, but over time, you'll eventually get like a steady flow of new traffic going to your site quickly and easily, and you can help use WebFire to help you rank for all that stuff right there, and to do the research on what keywords and such might have the easiest chance of ranking. Because like you could use the keyword tool, for instance, to see how many true competitors there are and which of those keywords or questions might be easier to rank for. And what I like about this is that oftentimes a lot of these questions will have a lot less search volume, but that's actually okay because the quality of the traffic usually is super high. Because there are people looking to buy. So even if there's like a question that let's say only gets 50 searches a month, that can be worth it because that's 50 people looking to buy what you're basically selling or could be selling. So just keep that in mind right there. Option number 2, which is kind of like a twist on it, is you can use WebFire's lead tools like the real-time lead finder, rank lead finder, the tweet lead finder, and the Q&A lead finder tool to find leads of people basically asking similar questions and then answer them directly in a similar way. You can set a search up and do this once a week with virtually the same answer. So you could find even like, for instance, with the rank lead finder, you could find sites that rank for certain questions of these that you can leave a post, a comment, or a reply on, and like siphon traffic from all those places to yours. And if you spend, again, just like a half hour or like an hour a week, or even like a couple hours a month doing this stuff over time, you can start to get a lot of very relevant traffic. So moving on to method number 2 here, review summaries. So if you want to be like an affiliate and have a great way to make some extra income, here's one of the easy ways to do so. So one of the easiest ways to make affiliate income is to write reviews. Typically, a good review will have a short intro, basically talking about the product, a pros and cons list, a short summary, and a conclusion with an obvious call to action, which would be your affiliate link. So for instance, in the intro, you might just say what the product is. You might have a pros and cons list. That's just the stuff that you like or don't like, or the stuff that basically others like or don't like. A short summary, which is like, with all the pros and cons here, here's what you think overall. And then a conclusion, like you think it's a good deal in this case or a great deal in this case, with a call to action, which would be, hey, click here to grab the best deal I found on this. And that would be your affiliate link right there. Now, it's best to basically target affiliate offers that either pay you higher commissions or reoccurring commissions, and ones that are also popular and sought after, because there's no point if no one searches or ever buys a specific product. However, the biggest obstacle that better, more expensive products can run into is that affiliates don't necessarily have the product or the money to buy them, if they're trying to do a lot of reviews. So if your goal is to write like a bunch of reviews on different products, there's a good chance you might not have all those products, or you might not have the money to buy them all. And that's okay, as long as you do this little trick right here. So to get around this, you don't even have to own the product yourself if you do this trick. In fact, not only will this work well, and you won't have to buy anything, but you can even admit it, and people will love you for it. So how, you might ask? By basically saying that you're writing or creating a video on a summary of all the reviews out there with all the general pros and cons, followed by your own thoughts or conclusion with an obvious call to action. People love it when they have less work to do, and you summarizing up all the reviews in one area does just that. For instance, if you've ever looked for reviews on anything, there's probably like dozens of sites and dozens of people with a different opinion. Even on like a great product, like let's say you have like an awesome product, and let's say like out of 10 reviews, and let's say 5 are really, really, really awesome, 3 are like pretty okay, and 2 say it's really bad. People get confused because they're like, oh, this guy says it's great. Oh, this guy says it's great. Oh, wait, this guy says it sucks. Oh, wait, this guy says it's only okay. And then they kind of go back to the drawing board, and people think like, well, should I search something else now? Whereas if you have a review summary where you basically say, hey, you're summarizing all the reviews out there, the good and the bad, to give your opinion on what you think, where you can basically say, hey, overall, this is a great product. Here's all the pros that people mention. The people that don't seem to like it typically don't like it for this reason or that reason, which might not even be a big deal. For instance, a lot of people, the mentality they have is if they see a bad review, they automatically think, oh, the product's bad. If they see a good one, they sometimes think like, oh, maybe that's bias. The problem is like you will always find negative people out there. So any product that people look for will probably eventually have a bad review, and it gets them kind of worried. But if you have a summary that rationally summarizes everything, it gets them more likely to be content with their decision and buy. And here's a perfect example. If I were to sell a tree that literally grew money, like literally an imaginary tree that grew actual money. And let's say that it would grow, $100 a week, and it'd be, 100 $1 bills. And I were to charge, let's say, $50 on that. Okay. The majority of people would say, oh, this is awesome. I spent $50 and I get a tree that basically grows 100 $1 bills, or £1 bills, or wherever you're from, or £1 coins, I should say, every week. They'd say, oh, that's awesome. But you would get guys that say, oh, this sucks because I had to wait a week for it to grow, 100 of those bills. It should be even less. Or you'll get guys that say, hey, this is really, really dumb because it only grows $1 notes, which is super annoying to have, 100 single dollars instead of $100 bill. And then if you were to grow a $100 bill, instead, they'd say, oh, this is real annoying because, it's hard to break this change down. I mean, whatever you do, someone will find a negative thing to say about. So, that's why, when you do a review summary, you can summarize everything and basically say, hey, overall, this is a great product. The only people that seem to hate this are the ones in this case or that case, which probably isn't even relevant for 99% of people out there. And people love that because it saves them time. Another great example of why this works is, let's say you came to my hometown, okay? And you asked me, you were hungry for a pizza, and you asked me, hey, what's a good restaurant to get pizza from? Which would you rather have me do? Would you rather have me give a breakdown of the top 15, pizza places near you with the pros and cons of, each one and what I like and don't like, and blah blah, and what's good and bad? Or would you rather me just basically give you, a single option or two and say, hey, if you like thin crust pizza, this place is by far the best one. If you like thick crust pizza, this other place here is by far the best one. People typically like the simple answer where someone can summarize it all and say, hey, if you're like this, you want this. If you're like that, you want that. So if you can keep basically review summaries a bit like that, people absolutely love it, even if they know that you didn't basically buy it themselves, because you can just say you're summarizing all the current reviews out there. And again, with just 15 to 30 minutes of research, you can pretty much know all the pros and cons in almost anything and write your own review up like that. So that's a super easy way to basically write reviews, even for high-end stuff that you never buy yourself. So how do you summarize all these up? Well, again, pretty easy, pretty simple. In the intro, you just say that you're summarizing up all the common pros and cons out there, list those out, and then basically give your overall impression of it all, and say what you see as the clear winner. This can work for basically product reviews, for basically product comparison reviews, so on and so forth, like GetResponse versus Aweber, which are two email autoresponders, or iPhone XR versus iPhone XS, basically anything like that. Now, a pro tip here is keyword research and proper titles and tags will make a major difference in your rankings here. So if you do the keyword research ahead of time to see what keywords are easier to rank for, as well as if you put those keywords then in the title of your blog post or the title of your videos and such, that alone will basically give you a huge chance of ranking better online. Another tip is you can actually make both a blog post and a video to basically double your chances of getting traffic and sales, and then put a redirect or shortened links in the description for the video. So you can actually do a blog post and turn it into a video as well, and rank not only on Google for the blog post, but the YouTube video can rank on YouTube as well as on Google. So it basically increases your chances of getting ranked in multiple areas there. Now, the last method right here is number 3, and this is to basically sell a schema and basically back end it with SEO and social media management. I see that I'm misspelled social in the title. I probably wrote that too fast there. So anyway, so if you want to have a killer offer that can back end into a nice reoccurring income, you want to do this here. So this is, I think, one of the easiest things to sell, especially if you want to sell like a web service using WebFire. So here's what you do. First, you want to create an offer where you sell a schema making service, and I'll explain what that is in a second. A schema basically is information that you give to basically Google and such that basically tells them more about your site, and in return, Google will not only often rank you higher, but they'll basically provide more info on your site. So like if you're, a business, they might have a click to call on it if someone will search from like a mobile phone, or they'll have a map or like a number or your, reviews or your hours listed. There's all sorts of examples there. I'll show off a couple examples in just a couple minutes here, but it's something that over the years has been more and more important, and more sites are ranking because of the use of schemas. And it's something that almost all sites would want to have, but it isn't always easy. But we have a tool inside of WebFire to make it easy. Now, the pitch usually is super easy. It's basically, do you want to look like this guy here at the bottom of page one or two, or like this nice looking one here? And then you give like, basically an example of, if you do like a video screen share, and you say, hey, for all the roof repair places or all the dentists here, would you rather look like this guy at the very top of the page with this nice looking site here, or like these guys that aren't even ranked? So pretty easy pitch right there. That by itself is an easy offer for $500 to $1,000 or more, but it doesn't have to stop there. So that's a pretty easy offer for even up to $1,000 or more, and a lot of businesses will jump on that. However, you don't want to stop there. You can have a back-end offer where you have two options for them. They can either pay $1,000 or whatever you decide. That's just an example there. I think $1,000 is a pretty like easy offer to do. I've certainly have seen guys charge a lot more, and I've seen guys charge a lot less, but I think $1,000's a pretty good one to shoot for. Where basically say, hey, the first option, you can pay $1,000 just for the schema, or the second option is you can sign up for a monthly service for only $500 a month, or whatever you decide is significantly less, where they not only get the schema, but they also get ongoing SEO and social media management. So it's like a package, and all the stuff you can do with WebFire super easy. It's a no-brainer offer to go for the monthly, which seems super cheap for even just the schema offer, but they get a ton more for it. They'll then get hooked as social media management, for instance, alone can cost more than that. And basically getting SEO and everything else, included, makes it a no-brainer to stay as well for a long time. So you basically went from like $500 to $1,000 one time to $6,000 or more per year per client for something fairly easy to do with WebFire. So it's like, you're trying to entice them to go for the monthly deal by saying, hey, the value of month one alone is worth more. Now, yes, there might be some guys that say, oh, I'll just go for the first month and then basically cancel. But the problem is, once they see all the value and all the other stuff that they get and all the ongoing stuff, a lot of them won't want to leave. And you'll get a lot more money off of them this way right here. And basically doing and fulfilling this inside of WebFire is super easy. So step one, you want to create the pitch, which there's a lot of ways of, about this. Probably one of the easiest ways is to just do like basically a video, recording pitch of your own screen. In fact, there's a couple software tools out there that help kind of record your own screen. Any of them works. Some are free, some are paid. The one that I like, which is a paid one, is Camtasia. which allows you to like record your own screen and do like your own voiceover and all that right there. But I think it's like $100 or so on a Mac, and I don't know the price on Windows. Whereas on if you want a free one, there's Cam Studio, which is a free one that does basically the same thing. I find it's not quite as easy to use, but again, pretty easy. There's also I mean, if you just search like free screen recorder followed by if you're on like a Mac or Windows, you'll find a lot of them. All of them would work, probably perfectly fine. And in the pitch, it basically is if you're trying to basically target a local business, like let's say dentists, you basically do dentists, and then the town that you want to search in. And like if I did, let's say dentists in Madison, Wisconsin, I'd say, hey, do you basically, here's why these guys rank at the top here. These guys have what's called a schema. This is why that they have this, and this. The guys down here do not. So if you want cool stuff like a click to call, or if you want like a cool stuff where you have your reviews or all this other stuff in it, you want to have a schema. Or if you don't want to rank, you'll just basically end up like these guys down here. That's basically the pitch itself. And we have we actually have a couple calls devoted just to how to make and sell schema stuff. So if you search schema, under the old trainings, you'll see like entire calls devoted to just that, which can basically dive into a lot more info. But I just want to kind of get you to see like the tip of the iceberg here on how like basically powerful this can really be. Then for the second step, you want to run the analysis tool and basically give them the report when you make the combined offer. So you can use the analysis tool, and you can click on, and I'll show this all off in a minute. You can basically click to allow them to, or you can basically download the PDF report for them that you basically give them for free, so they can see why they rank, why they don't rank, what they have to change. And you basically say, hey, not only will you do the schema for them, but on top of that, here's tons of issues on their site that you're willing to fix as well. And on top of that, you'll also help them basically put their social media on autopilot, like Facebook and Twitter and all that as well. And you'll do like basically weekly posts or whatever you want right there, which the social poster fire tool inside of WebFire can help you do all that right there. Then for step 3, you use the Schema Maker to create the schemas. You use the analysis tool to, again, identify and fix all those SEO issues, along with other SEO tools like the keyword finder. And then again, use the social poster to basically create and automate the social media posts. Then you sit back, as almost all the work is in the first month, and it's very minimal after that. So most of the work on your end is done in the first month, but they get ongoing benefits each and every month. And if you charge, let's say $500 a month, and they get all that, including the schema, they're excited about the schema up front because that's the big thing. But then all the other things are just like a bonus on top of that. It really is like an amazing offer that can go a really long way there and can really help a lot of businesses out there. And for $500 a month, that seems like a crazy awesome deal, because a lot of these guys might be basically paying that just for SEO, or just for schema, or just for social media. So to get all that wrapped up into one is huge, and it doesn't have to cost you much, because again, this is work that you can do yourself pretty easily inside of WebFire, or you can easily outsource it to have someone help you do all this pretty easily. And again, at $500 a month, which is probably the minimum I would go for, I think you could probably easily get even $1,000 a month. Is for like a higher end business. You'd want to make sure that you basically target the kind of businesses where a single sale can be worth a lot of money, so they see the value in it. But you don't need a lot of clients to make a lot of money off that. There's basically guys out there that you could even charge like $1,000 a month, where a single sale a year would make them a profit. Like if you were to charge, or if you were to basically target like lawyers or basically roofers or like anything like that, or basically car dealerships or anything like that, a single sale can really go a long ways with them, and it makes your deal even at the higher price end seem like a really awesome deal. And just a few sales a year can basically give you a full-time income for work that you can do in literally a fraction of the time. I mean, most of the stuff here you could basically do pretty much everything within 1 to 2 hours and be set for months for that single client right there. So that's just something to keep in mind. I'm going to pause the screen for a second as I show off some of the stuff that I basically talked on the schema, just in case here. So all right, so a schema basically can look like a few things. One, sometimes it'll look like this right here, where you see on like a Google search, you'll see an entire business basically pop up with their name, their reviews, their number, social media posts, all that stuff right there. Other times will look like this, like you've probably seen these right here, where if you do a search, like this case I just did, wedding photographer, Madison, Wisconsin here. The top two are basically ads, they're paid ads, but these ones all are using like a schema to help with that. And that's very, very powerful, because just by having the schema, just by taking advantage of that, you can show up there. And like this is one, I think this is basically our programmer's wife, or one of our programmers. His wife is that, and she's not even in business anymore, I don't think. I think she changed careers I think a bit ago when they got new son. So, but just because she had a schema, she's already like outranking all those other sites, and she has an old site that's not even really in use, but it just goes to show the power of that. And the pitch is like super easy. It's like, hey, do you want to be like this guy right here, or like these guys at the very bottom, or who aren't even on page one? For a restaurant, you can also have like a click to see the menu. You can also have, if you're on a phone, these will have like a click to call as well. So if you're a restaurant and someone's searching for your kind of food in your local area, are they more likely to click on like a top link that says click to call or click to see the menu, or like a bottom place that does not have a click to call and that does not have a click to see the menu or anything like that? Obviously, it's a huge advantage to have that. Now, normally it's quite hard to change that stuff and involves like a lot of tech stuff, but inside WebFire, we make it super easy to do all that. We have the Schema Maker, or the Schema Markup. You just go under the SEO tab and then click on Schema Markup, and you see this, and you see all the different kinds of schemas that you can have. This is just a local one, and you basically just fill in the blanks. Like you fill in what their business hours are, what the address is. If they have social media, you can add those links in. You can add the numbers, all that stuff right there. Then you can either create the code and paste it on their site, or have them paste it. There's easy instructions. Or you can also click at the very bottom, add schema to WordPress, or add schema to an HTML site, and WebFire will automatically help you basically add that on the site automatically with their info. So pretty easy. There's also different kinds of schemas. That's just the most popular and probably the easiest one to sell is the local one. There's ones like this where instead of just having one link, you can have a bunch of other links show up under it, like other pages that they have right there. And you can have more than one schema on one site, but I mean, all these are easy examples that you can show off if you want. There's also the kind of new and neat thing where you can have like a Q&A schema. So if someone's asking a question on Google, like for instance, how to lose weight, you'll see a preview right here, and you'll see a bunch of other questions. Like right here, you can click and see like an answer with a site. To have your site have a good chance of showing up there, you can do all that by basically filling out the Q&A schema right here, and basically you just paste in the question that you think you should rank for, and provided that you have an answer that actually answers it well, there's a good chance that basically Google will show you for that right there. But obviously, I think, you know, the easiest one is, you know, the local one. It's, again, the kind of service that you know, you would sell the schema thing, because it's a super easy pitch. It's like, hey, do you want to look like this guy here, or like, you know, these guys down here, or hey, do you want to look like these guys right here, or like, you know, the ones at the very bottom, or not even on page one right there. Pretty easy. So you do the schema as the main thing, and then you back end it by basically having service on the back end where you do the standard SEO and you do the social media management. So for like the standard SEO, you can say, hey, for this, you know, option 2 here, you can also give them a copy of PDF report, which you can do right here once you run their site and the keyword. You basically would hand them a PDF report that basically gives them a detailed breakdown of all the issues. Naturally, they'll want you to fix it, and they'll say, hey, man, not only do I want the schema, yeah, but yeah, definitely would be nice to fix all this other stuff. And you can offer to do that as well. And then, of course, you can also do, and that's just under, if you go to SEO and keywords, it would just be the analysis. And then to do the social media, you know, posting, that's just under social, and then basically poster fire right there to put their social media on autopilot, you know, on like Facebook and Twitter and stuff. So pretty cool service right there. And again, at 500 to even 1,000 a month, you can seem like a steal of a deal. Like, I know places that just do social media management that cost more than 1,000 a month for fairly basic businesses. Same with SEO. Same with schemas and all that. So by combining those, you get them excited on the front end, and you get them excited about the reoccurring stuff. And to sell a schema, if you focus on the schema on the front, I think that's the easiest way to start, because it's super easy to show the differences off, like, you know, this and that. It's super easy to show the difference, and it gets guys excited. You can do like a recording of yourself basically showing off differences and get guys excited. And then to basically answer the question of, hey, how do you find, you know, essentially prospects? Well, there's multiple ways. One, you know, again, you can reach out to local businesses. Like, if you want to show an example for roofers or dentists, you can start to reach out to the relevant ones there. Or you can even use some of the lead tools inside of WebFire to find the relevant businesses and such that are basically asking questions on stuff, or asking questions on SEO or anything like that, and you can help them that way as well. And I apologize for my dog barking in the background. There's a person that came to the door, probably a package delivery guy, but hopefully he'll shut up in a second, so you all can say hi to Scraps. Scraps, quiet. So and that's one way that you can do it right there. And again, pretty powerful stuff there. You can also, if you want, optionally too, you can even do paid ads. So like, if you want to do a paid ad on Facebook, you can have like a video where you show off what a schema is, how a schema can help, what it looks like, and then you can target certain, you know, local businesses or people that own a business in a local area, and do well, you know, off that as well. So it's up to you. You definitely don't have to do paid ads. You can use like the free lead tools and stuff like that to help you, or you can just you know, reach out to those that you think you could help a great to deal with. And yeah, that's just a great way to start things right there, and it's a really awesome offer, and a great way to get going. So yeah. And with that, I'm just going to pause the screen for a second as I go back to the slide. All right, and with that, if you guys have any other questions or anything like that, feel free to ask now. And in the meantime, make sure to join our free Facebook group right here, which you can get to if you go to getwebfire.com/FB group. And oops, didn't mean to do that. And again, it's just getwebfire.com/FFFB group right there. And you can sign up for the free Facebook group there, and we'll actually give $100 away right now. In the meantime, we'll see if there's any questions you guys have. And I know Sean and Sharon have been answering questions in the background there, but you guys can sign up right there. You will see a post from Sharon at the very top, basically asking what you thought of the call. If you leave a comment in there, we'll do the giveaway on that in just a minute or two right here. So in the meantime, Sean, if there's any questions that you see or that have been common, feel free to ask those out, and I will search through those in a second here.
Okay, so one of the questions from Sue that I think probably a couple of people have is, so I'm just starting out. I don't have any testimonials from clients yet. How do I deal with that? How do I compensate for that?
Sure. So with that, if you had like let's say you're doing like the schema thing, that's not the kind of thing that you need a lot of testimonials for, because it's pretty easy. It's like, hey, you have to explain what the schema is and explain what the difference is. So, if you say, hey, I'm an SEO expert and I'll get you ranked, you have to kind of prove that you know what you're doing there. But if you basically go in with a schema offer, you basically say, hey, sites that have a schema look like this, sites that do not look like that. So it's not like you have to be an expert to add the schema. You just have to know what to basically do. So it doesn't need as much of the social proof to start with. Now, of course, once you get some clients and stuff, you can add the social proof in later and help you out even more. You can also just make like an example site. Like if you have a local business site that you want to help out, you can make an example one right there. Or you can even just, instead of having it be your own example, you can say, hey, here's what a site with a schema looks like here, like this guy, and here's what a site without one looks like here. Like that's kind of what I said initially on, if you do like a screen recording of a Google search where you show off a site with a schema and a site without a schema, that by itself is kind of the social proof. So it's like you don't have to have like 100 clients to prove essentially that you know what you're doing there. So even with none, you could make sales on that. So I think that answers that. Let's see what other questions there were here.
Is there a video tutorial on the social poster?
Yeah, I believe
there should be a video tutorial on every single tool.
Yeah. Let me just double check that, but I think pretty much everything. Yeah, they all do. Yep, I just checked that right here. So in fact, I'll just show you really quick right here. So on any of the tools, like right here, I clicked on the poster fire. You just then click on right here and it would go to the walkthrough right there. If you go to like any of these other tools, we'll do the keywords tool right there. You can click on this tab right there and it has a walkthrough on all those right there. So fairly easy. Yep. Oh, and to explain the Facebook thing, let me just pull up that really quick right here. I'll just refresh the page real quick, just so I get
Okay, while you're pulling it up, so people, for the replay of this webinar and voluminous webinars are in the member area. So when you're logged into the website, to the WebFire member area, look on the left-hand side, there's a tab for training. There is a lot of stuff there, including within a couple hours or so will be this webinar. Where we have training webinars with PowerPoint slides like the one today, we'll also have a PDF file where you can look at the slides and be able to grab them in case you missed stuff or didn't want to take notes or whatever.
Yep, and right here, if you just go to getwebfire/FB group, you'll go to this right here. If you're not a member, it'll ask you to basically join. Again, it's free. Then if you join right now, you'll be approved in like a minute. Sharon will approved view. But if you scroll down, this is how you can win $100. If you scroll down, I think it's like the second post down, from today, from just a few minutes ago, Sharon basically asks who liked today's call. If you post any comment there at all, like thoughts on it, or any info on like stuff that you want to see on like a future call or anything at all, we'll pick a random winner in like just like a minute or two right here. We'll actually do a live drawing. I'll go to random.org so you can see the actual drawing, but just make sure to click to be a member, then scroll down to this right here, click on the comment and leave any comment, and just one. So don't try to leave like 5 and think that will increase your chances or anything. That will just be like very annoying. But make sure to leave the comment within here rather than like another area. So just scroll down to where it says who loved today's call, and if you leave a comment in that, we'll pick a random winner in just a minute or so. And then as a side note as well, if there's any questions or anything that we missed, or anything like that, just go to just write support at webfire.com, and they'd be happy to help out there. All right, so there's a person that asks here on the WebFire app.
Brian, Sharon's already working with Rob.
Okay, great. Yeah. So yeah,
but here's a question you can't answer.
Yep.
Okay. I got these all sorted out for you. It's not like I don't want people to think I'm not working here. So when we search on the forums, can we distinguish between business forums versus forums where individuals use, so that if the keywords are used, but my business is only B2B, so I just want business forums?
So there's a few things that you can do on that. So one is, if you use like some of the lead tools, you can search for basically keywords and phrases that would be more likely to be used by someone that would have a business. But more importantly, for instance, with like the with like the real-time lead finder, it gives you a preview of the keyword and stuff in question, so you can see the surrounding text. So just by just basically taking a couple seconds, you can just basically glance through all those leads and see which ones might be more or less relevant to you. You can also, on the ranked lead finder, you can use keywords and stuff that would be more likely to be used by someone that has a business rather than not. So it's just basically a question of thinking through what keywords you have and what you want to use on that. Like, for instance, for SEO, pretty much anyone asking a question on SEO, probably either has a business or is looking to make money with something. There's not really a lot of random people that say, hey, I want to rank but have no intention of making money off that or selling anything. So with a phrase like that, pretty much anything with SEO or anything with schemas or anything with that is probably has a good chance of being a good lead. Now, if it's let's say a term like, let's say you're an affiliate for mopeds and you want to find people looking to buy one, you don't just want to necessarily search for a keyword like mopeds, although you could. You'd have to weed through more, but you could search for like different phrases or basically questions that people might have relevant to that, and find lots of people looking to basically buy that stuff right there. Like oftentimes phrases that start with like difference between A versus B, or like product A versus product B, are always good terms like that. Yeah, so just kind of like it's hard to like give a specific example because like every niche can basically vary. So without knowing your exact niche, it's hard to say, hey, these are the keywords that you should use here. But pretty much just take like a couple minutes and think, hey, what are search phrases and stuff that might be more likely to be relevant, in my niche versus that, and also just play around with the tools as well, because if you do like just like a couple minutes of searches, you'll typically find what might be like basically a better lead versus a not so great lead, and you can kind of basically filter from there. Like a lot of the tools allow you to basically filter that stuff out as well right there. All right. Let's see if there's anything else.
So Brian, you looking for another question?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, so yeah, so here's one more. Hang on. Okay, so $500 a month is a lot for small businesses like wedding photographers. Although wedding photographers in America at least get paid an enormous amount of money to photograph a wedding.
Yeah.
But over here in London, that's a lot of money. Any tips on how to gauge the price without underselling yourself, but also to not scare people off? Or is this a case of trial and error?
I mean, it's a bit of both. I mean, main thing is you don't want to basically target, like if there's like a shoe repair place that works on like a profit of like a couple dollars or so, that's probably not worth it. Whereas if there's like a roof repair place or like a lawyer or even the photographers, those ones are usually like thousands of dollars in profit per sale. So it's more easy to basically target those guys. Where the example that they gave, I probably would actually disagree with them. If there's like a lot of photographers like that for like a wedding, those are usually often in in the thousands. So to them, like a single client would be a pretty good investment in that. I mean, even at like the 500 per month range, that's a pretty cheap compared to what the value of a single sale would be for them. But of course, there are other businesses that are worth a lot less, where it's probably not worth the time to go after those ones. So my rule of thumb is like to say, hey, what is the average client worth? And then, if the price that you have per month is a good chunk less than that, that's probably more likely to be like a no-brainer deal. If they're selling like a $5 thing, you'll have a very hard time having a guy be likely to jump on an offer like in the 500 range there. So that's what I would do that. Yeah, so that should answer that. Now to wrap up, if you guys want, Sean, if there's not any more questions that haven't been answered, they can always write support@webfire.com, and we can do the giveaway if you want really quick here. Or is there anything else that you see off the top of your head right here?
No, I think we're good right now.
Okay. So with that, if there's any questions that we missed or anything else, just write support@webfire.com and they'll get back to you, usually within like a couple minutes to like an hour or two or so, if you do so now. And with that, I will refresh the page right here, and we'll pick the winner, and then wrap this up here. All right. All right. All right. So let's see, there's a couple that basically posted outside of that. Let's see. All right. So I'll count both of these ones for right now, even though they usually in the future should all be comments in the same one. So there's 30 here plus 11 outside. So we'll say 41 in total. We'll go to random.org right here, 1 to 41. Do you have a guess as to who will win?
17.
All right, let's see. I'll click.
No doubt about it. Right on there every time. 17, baby.
See, told
you. So if you're number 17, you were close.
So the winner's number 29 here. So let me just get that real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 45, 6, 7, 28, 29. All right, so Jones Kirk, this is you and you live in Tampa, congratulations, you're this week's $100 winner. If you could write up your PayPal email in the chat box to Sharon, she'll get you paid shortly here. So once again, congratulations to Jones Kirk. And for everyone else on this call, thanks for being on this call with us. If you have any other questions or anything, just write support@webfire.com and one of our workers will get back to you really, really fast there. So again, any other questions, feel free to ask that and let us know if there's any future topics or basically anything that you want us to cover. Feel free to reach out. And with that, guys, hope you guys have a great rest of the week and we'll talk to you later. Take care.